everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are continuing our easy mass production. And today's tip really focuses on something that is a benefit to card making, or whether you mass produce a lot, whether you make stationery sets, make multiples of the same thing. Today's tip really focuses on swatching. I know that swatching is not for everybody. A lot of people don't see the benefit of it. But in my card making process, swatching is really, really helpful for a lot of reasons. But the main reason today is when I'm trying to figure out ink colors that coordinate or match a cardstock choice that I've picked really closely. Today I wanted to do a little bit of tone on tone. So I wanted the ink color I was going to be stamping in to be just a slightly bit darker than the cardstock color I was stamping on. And so being able to have things swatched out so that I can put them up to the paper and see if they are going to work is so beneficial. The swatching system that I have used for many years now that works really well for me and is easy to expand. I know that there are sometimes we come up with organization things that they're just not easy to grow with. As your collection gets larger, they're very difficult to grow. And this method from Jennifer McGuire is very easy. And I have my swatch book to my right there. I have them in a big binder. And I use, according to the goat, so Jennifer McGuire, I use little coin pockets. They're like coin pockets. I use those. So she has something on her website that is printable, and she has them in two different varieties. So she has one that has all of the ink colors from any of the ink companies you can think of, stamping companies that you can think of that have inks. She has them all like printed out on white. They're named, they're labeled. You just have to cut them apart and stamp them. And then she has one that's like a blank PDF. So you can, if you've been doing this for a while or you're not quite sure if this is going to really work for you, you don't want to, maybe you don't have all of the colors from one company, or maybe you just want to organize things a little different. I don't know. You can use the blank PDF, which is what I use. So I took these colored cardstocks, and I will tell you the colors in a minute. But I went to my cardstock and my swatches, and I was trying to find one that matched really close. So when I found that one, I wanted to go one shade darker, just so that it would be very visible, but would still be very tone on tone and soft. So here I wanted to show you another reason why I find swatching very beneficial. I am sure it is incredibly difficult for companies to get the true color of the ink onto their packaging. So this is a Simon Says Stamp ink cube from their original line, which I think that they are starting to kind of fade out, cycle out of. But that color on the stamp cube, on the ink cube, looks nothing like what it stamps like. And that is true for a lot of them. Like I said, I imagine the manufacturing process, it's very difficult to accomplish that. So that is another reason why I find swatching very beneficial, not only if I'm trying to mass produce, but if I am trying just to make a card in general, or if I'm making a stationery set. I just find swatching, particularly of my inks, very beneficial for me. So that's it for my little plug. If you have any questions, be sure to put those in the comment section below, and I will try to answer them as fast and as thoroughly as possible. So let's go ahead and get into the card making today. I purchased this paper pad from In Love Arts, and this is called Amaranth Purple. And it is just beautiful, like almost alcohol ink background type patterns. And they have like pre-printed like gold in them. They're just really pretty. So I picked that out because purple is a color of royalty, and Christ is King. So I wanted to make some cards that were very Christian themed. I like the cutesy bunnies and flowers and Easter eggs and that kind of thing, but really the whole purpose of Easter is Christ. And so I wanted to do this particular set today. So I have 2 Simon Says Stamp sets here today. I only have 1. I have Happy Easter. That is where all of the sentiments come from, including that really pretty arched one. And then I just placed those into my mini Misty, and I'm using some inks to stamp them out. So the inks I'm using today are, I have Catherine Pooler on the Lake. I have Pinkfresh Studios. I have Stamp Market's Orchid. Simon Says Stamp Wisteria. Those are the 3 colors that I'm using today to do my stamping. The colored cardstock is all from Cardstock Warehouse. That's where I purchase my cardstock. I feel like I get my most bang for my buck there. And this is Woodstock, AZZURRO, and MALVA. I have Lessebo Purple Haze and Colorplan Lavender, and I will list those all below. The die set that I used is from Pinkfresh Studio, and that is their fancy rectangle frame. And initially I'd wanted just the frame. And then I decided that I was going to go ahead and do my stamping of my sentiment and greeting onto kind of the negative space, the rectangle that came out. And I thought that worked out really well. I am going to be donating these cards to a nonprofit that focuses on reaching out to those in nursing homes. And so I want to make sure that these are very, very easy to mail. So if I were making one of these cards, I would probably add some more dimension. I would probably pop up that frame or pop up this rectangle. I may I may put some gems or sequins on there. But because I want these to be very flat and very mailable so that they don't have to pay for extra postage, I decided to keep everything stamped down, excuse me, whoa. Oh boy, glued down flat. So I'm just going to speed through this stamping. Some of my ink pads were pretty dry, and so I did have to stamp some things multiple times, but it wasn't the end of the world. And I was really pleased with the colors that I chose. I feel like they worked out really well, and I lend that to Jennifer McGuire's swatching organization and the time that I took to actually swatch those out. I have been using this system for a long time, like I said, so when I get new ink pads, it's not really a chore to swatch them anymore. But if you had a large collection and were trying to organize things a little better, that may be quite the task. So I can't imagine having to go back and swatch all of my inks again. That would just be bananas time consuming. So if you are considering doing some different swatching or trying to switch up your swatching, I recommend maybe picking one line, maybe a line that you don't have as many ink colors in, or a line that you use a lot, or maybe one that you're not very familiar with that you would like to use more often. Sometimes if you swatch things out, you can see the colors, and that gives you're more likely to actually reach for them if you can see what they look like. Especially if it's one, like I said, that you're not very familiar with, but you're wanting to use more of. So just some ideas on ways to help make swatching work for you. So I did go and pick one of the patterns. There were 12 different patterns, and I picked 12 of them, so one of each. And I cut them down to 4 by 5 1/4. I just wanted a small white frame around them, and I went ahead and printed them off. I cut them down, and I'm gluing them down flat, like I said. And these are just HAMMERMILL card bases, so they measure 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. They're just A2. After I glued all of those colored panels down, I went and am gluing down the sentiment as well, and I'm trying to get them as straight as possible, just so that when I go to put the frame around, everything is even. I'm sorry if you can hear my kids giggling in the background. They are watching Peter Pan, and My 4 and almost 2-year-old find it absolutely hysterical. They find TikTok crock hysterical. I mean, absolutely hysterical. It is funny to watch them laugh at TikTok crock. Anyway, so for this frame, it has kind of these main like scallops in the 4 like sides, the center of 4 sides. And I did punch out all of those. And initially on the first frame, I did go back and punch out all of those teeny tiny circles. But eventually I got tired of doing that. I didn't feel like it took away or added to the card. So I just stopped doing that. I think I only punched out all of the circles on one of the frames. I don't think I punched them out on the rest of them. So I'm just adding liquid glue all around that frame and then butting it up against that rectangle. And that worked out really well. And I'm going to do that for all of them. So that's how I'm going to go through and glue them all down flat. This is the spot where I thought I would maybe, pop up the actual rectangle. If I was just making one, or if I wasn't concerned about the ease of mailing them, or I was going to hand deliver the card, this is where you could start adding some dimension. Pop up the frame or pop up the rectangle with your sentiment, put some gems or sequins on there. I did feel like that cross needed some shine. So I took a Spectrum Noir clear glitter brush pen and added that all over the cross on each of these panels. Excuse me. And then that was the cards complete. I hope you found my tips helpful in this series. I hope you felt inspired to send some Easter greetings to someone this year. I appreciate you spending time with me. Like I said, I hope you felt inspired. If you have any questions about anything in this video, be sure to ask them in the comment section below. And until then, I appreciate you spending time with me, and we will see you next time. Bye.